Hi. Hello. Welcome back to my channel, Jane SMR. Tonight I wanted to do some orange themed triggers, tapping and stuff. And this goes on the light, but it was actually really yellow. The other, like the blue, looks very blue, but this was very yellow. So we're just gonna use the one light, and I think it looks okay for our orange triggers. And I have some orange in my sweatshirt as well, so that counts. But tonight, while we do some ASMR, I have some notes here. I wanted to talk to you about how to improve hard conversations, or how to sort of have a script you can fall back on when you need to have a challenging conversation. I learned this technique in a class I took at some point. It's called BEESS, like the bzzz, the animal bee. So I think this is a really cool thing because it's something that I find very useful in my work. An orange folder for tapping in my work, but also sometimes in conversations I need to have in my personal life. So I thought that would be a cool thing to share, a useful thing to share, because I think it's something that can truly benefit anyone. And of course we have to do hand sounds. So the B in BEESS stands for behavior. B is for behavior. So when you need to have a difficult conversation with someone, you want to be as objective and as factual as possible. So, of course there are the obvious things that are going to be very triggering and upsetting to someone. If it's, you never want to use all or nothing type statements, right? You never want to be like, gosh, you always do this, you never do this. Those are not productive, and they're factually inaccurate, because no one is ever always or never anything, right? So you want to focus on the behavior. And if you can almost think of it as a script, because there are certain things that you can say. So for example, you can say, I've observed that XYZ, or I noticed XYZ behavior. I noticed, I observed, I think this is what I'm seeing, trying to be objective, factual, and not assigning any personal emotions that you might have with the matter. These are the medium size ones. I also have this little one that I have deflated. The small one. These are some orange triggers. I think I've mentioned this. I like the small ones better. They were more expensive. So B is for behavior. It's a nice way to frame up the conversation, to start a challenging conversation. I noticed, I observed, I'm seeing. Okay, and the next E in BEESS is effect. Again, keeping things objective and factual. What is the effect of the behavior? So helping someone to recognize or realize how how the behavior you mentioned might be impacting others around you. So the effect of that behavior. So I'm trying to think of an example right now. But I don't know, let's just say I don't know, I'm trying to think of something. Let's say your neighbor is not, okay, let's say you have a certain trash day, and instead of taking their trash to the like pickup spot, your neighbor is pulling their trash in front of your driveway. And so in this hypothetical example, you know, you might say, you know, hey, I noticed like the your recycling bins have been over on in front of my house, apartment, street, whatever, and it's actually been pretty tough for me. It's actually blocking in my car in the mornings, and it's actually like it's blocking me in, and it's actually made me late a couple of times. Effect, okay. And then the next E is empathy. Empathy, showing understanding. So in this hypothetical scenario, your option could be orange, my favorite hand sanitizer and water sounds. So showing empathy, you know, it could be something like, let's say your neighbor is an older person, and maybe they're not sure exactly where they're supposed to put their trash or recycling, or maybe it's really heavy for them, and maybe there's some kind of misunderstanding. Opening yourself up to other possible explanations for what is happening, you know. So sort of saying like, I know these things are so heavy, or I know it can be so tough to remember what days to put stuff out, you know, because by creating empathy, what you want to do is you're building a bridge. I didn't even do this. You're building a bridge. You want to build a bridge. You don't want to push someone away. You want to bring someone in closer to collaborate with you, partner with you, work with you, not antagonize them, push them away, drive them to not be cooperative. Or, you know, if you come in with sort of a negative energy, that's not going to make someone open to you. It's going to make someone pull away, and it's going to make someone put up their defenses. People get defensive, and it makes all the difference just thinking about how you approach someone. So empathy, and then so the S in BEESS is solution. Propose a solution. You know, I get that it's so confusing, like remembering which days, like the trash versus recycling. Like maybe it would be helpful if there was a sign, like I posted this poster, or like we just posted the schedule that is mailed to us, like if there's like a bulletin board or something, like a place that's easy for you to see. Or can I share a copy with you so you can have a copy? Maybe you don't have a copy, or, you know, if you're able-bodied, sort of like I can help you move these out to the appropriate place if it was the scenario where someone is a little bit older maybe and it's just physically difficult for them. Those are just all possible solutions where you can have your desired outcome, right? Versus just attacking or antagonizing someone and then nothing changes and you don't have a good neighbor relationship. And that actually, while I'm on that, you know, the alternative thing you could say, of course, is like, well, it's not my fault, it's not my responsibility, like, why am or am I having to be so like thoughtful and putting all this effort in the way I approach this conversation? You're right. You're totally right. You're absolutely right. You don't have to do any of that. It's completely up to you. But if you choose to take a different path, how is that outcome going to serve you? Is it worth it to drive someone away? And if you think about this as a skill that you can kind of develop over a lifetime of different interactions and communications with all kinds of scenarios in your world, it's just going to make your life smoother if you know how to interact with people in a way that preserves and builds relationships instead of antagonizes and tears them down. You know? Just something to think about. And then the last, this is a bonus S. So that was BEESS, BEESS, but a bonus S is to secure buy-in. So that's just like a really solid way to close this sort of interaction, this conversation. Let's say they're like, oh my gosh, that would be so helpful, that would be amazing if we could put up the schedule. I always get the days confused, or, you know, it's so hard, like, if I put it in this spot, when you take yours out, if you could take it the rest of the way, you come up with something that makes sense, and then you get their buy-in. So that looks like, do you think that would work for you? Or do you think that's something that you would be open to? Or, you know, does this seem like something that would work for you? Is this something that we can try to do? And by securing their buy-in, it ends it on a positive note, and it really increases your chances of success if someone is agreeing to something. Okay? So that is a little crash course on some tips on how to have a successful, potentially challenging conversation. You know, of course, this is not true of every situation. I think this can count as more yellow, but there are some orange elements. You know, of course, flick, 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 flick. It's not true of every situation, but a lot of times I think conflict or challenging conversations are like really great ways to strengthen a relationship. You know, in this hypothetical scenario, you could build resentment. That neighbor relationship could deteriorate. And it's really nice to have good relations with neighbors, you know? And instead of having this negative interaction experience, you have an opportunity to actually build your relationship and make it stronger than it was before. So that is BEESS, B-E-E-S, and there's a bonus S. Little technique to sort of help you build a script on how to have a successful, difficult conversation. So just wanted to share that tonight. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that is helpful to you, and I hope this video is soothing and comforting to you. So, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being you. And thank you for being here.